let's talk forecasting. From the sales and forecasting tab here and up to forecasting, you're going to see our screen that looks like this. This is where the general managers spend their time when they're building out the forecast for the following weeks. A couple of fun things to note here is you're looking at the week as a whole breakdown. You've got your weekly total in this column here. It's also going to showcase and show you highs and lows and potential weather. It's a great way for you to understand what's ahead of you as you're writing your projections. Up top here is your final line of what you're projected based off of the forecast that is pulled from the last few weeks. You can see any adjustments that you make manually here, whether it's by the percent or by the dollar. And then your final sales forecast for the entire week. You can see that paired against what you did last week and what you did same week last year. You also have the ability to add specific events. As you can see, this Sunday is National Margarita Day at Donkey, which is going to be an increase in sales. You could do that by adding here. If you have a day that you're closed, you can mark that here. That'll just help alter your projections as needed. Also, as you are doing projections in the future, you're able to look back at these specific days and see that there's events and things that happened on those days, which is why you forecasted the way that you did. Some breakdowns that are really important to use when it comes to forecasting is viewing it by the day. What I love about viewing it by the day is that you can see a breakdown of the hour, 30 minutes, and 15-minute forecasting. This should be utilized to really help understand your peak and valleys in your day and where you need staffing the most. Is there a 1 hour crossover for lunch where you might need an extra body, but you didn't need an extra body the entire day? Do we have the ability to manipulate a mid shift to cover the extra body, or have a manager stay a little bit earlier or a little bit later to just get through that push instead of having to schedule an entire body that we may or may not cut before their scheduled time for the day is up? Things like this should help with overall staff retention and more competency when it comes to hours that the staff are retaining. Let's take a look here at a specific day coming up. So for Donkey, you can see a breakdown here by the hour of our sales projections. We know how many staff that we need to schedule before noon with not a whole lot of sales. Even on a Friday, we are looking at a projected $263 with an increase of $86. So we're looking at only $350 going into the 11 to 12 o'clock hour. But very quickly, we see a massive increase on Friday at lunch. No kidding. At noon, that hour is looking closer to $2,500. And then you can see the way that lunch fizzles back out. This is where you guys are going to get the most benefit if you are looking at the breakdown by hour of your projections for any given day. You're able to see the peaks and valleys. You're able to see that, hey, I needed an extra body from 12 to 1, but as soon as 1 o'clock hit, we died back down and I did not need that extra body anymore. What can we do to support that massive hour push that doesn't screw somebody else's schedule over or make them feel like they only came in for an hour or two for work? This is where you can see where you start to pick up going into the night. Does most of your staff come in at 5 o'clock, 5:30, when you know that you are starting to push $1,000 hour prior to 5 o'clock? Does that make sense for the staffing to be that way? In the heart of house, are you looking at these hours and going, okay, I know that I don't have a big hour from 3 to 4, but I need to get ready for a big dinner, so I need my main core staff in the kitchen here by 4 o'clock so that we are ready to go when we start popping off at 5 o'clock. This is a really solid way for you to understand the fallout as well at the end of the night. By the end of 8 p.m., we should be doing some hard cuts between 8 and 9 p.m. because at our 9 p.m. hour, our sales dramatically decrease, and then again by that 10 p.m. hour. Highly beneficial to be able to see this as you are scheduling throughout your week taking the time to slow down and pay attention to the little details to make the most of your schedule on a daily basis. This is obviously a busy Friday. Things are going to look a lot different for a Monday. You can see your peaks and valleys here, steady throughout the calm afternoon, not a whole lot going on. Did we need one server? Did we only need a bartender on that day? Our peaks are not very high here. What does this mean for my heart of house staff? What does this mean for my front of house staff? Given the weather, is that going to make these forecastings worse? Is it going to make these forecastings better? If you are looking at overall labor spend, you want to see what your current schedule is matching up to your labor goals, we're going to find that on the actual schedule themselves. So as long as forecasting is published, which in this case you can see that it is, now we're going to go over to our schedule. I'm clicking on a specific department to get a solid breakdown. Let's click on the back of house. After I do that, my forecasting comes into play here. I'm able to see what my forecasted sales are for the day. I'm able to see, based off of the current selected jobs, what my labor cost is and what my percentage is of that labor cost. All of your store goals are set as well for your overall schedule, not by the individual schedule. So that's why you see here your labor goal percent is 0 because it's set by the full store. This is where you're going to be able to see your breakdown of labor spend for your menu or for your schedule. When I click out of that, you can see this is my total breakdown for the week. Monday, Tuesday, here's our projected sales. Here's what our current scheduled labor spend is. And here is it paired against our goal of 20% or below. So before you are posting the schedule, it's always a good practice to make sure that you are reviewing this. Up here in the front, you're going to see this as a week. For the week total, they are posting their schedule at a 19% labor spend. You can see any potential overtime hours listed here as well. And these are the hours spent every day in labor. These are not relevant to you as they are not built into our labor matrix specifically. What you're going to definitely be looking for is the dollar amounts and the percentages up on the top here. I hope that helps. Please reach out with any additional questions that you may have when it comes to forecasting and reviewing your labor spend as you continue to work on this and become more familiar with 365.